All right, folks. So Mike Gundy, the coach of Oklahoma State football, has had himself a rough week. So today we're actually talking about it because he already had a little bit of drama last week, and I don't know if you guys heard about this. He had a T-shirt on that kind of upset some people. He had an OAN, which is a far-right news publication that doesn't really support Black Lives Matter, some other stuff, and his players were really upset about it. One player in specific, Hubbard, the running back, called him out for it, and he has since apologized, but he's also had some other news this week. Another player has now called him out, saying that 1989, when he was a quarterback actually playing for Oklahoma State, that he lost the game and then called one of the players an N-word. So let's first start by saying, just by introducing those facts, let's start by saying he has not admitted to saying this. So he has not confirmed that he has said it. But multiple players, the player that called him out, the player named Alfred Williams, was a linebacker, has said that if he denies it, he has a lot of players that he could call on that could also say, yeah, this definitely happened. Here's some of the facts that I think are important in this situation before I get to my actual opinion on the whole thing. One, I didn't even know Mike Gundy played for Oklahoma State, so I thought that was a good way to I think it's important detail.
I also didn't know who the coach was
before.
Yeah. I was thinking, when you wanted to talk about Gundy, I was thinking Jeff Van Gundy.
Right, so I think ESPN should do itself a little favor. In all their articles, it says Gundy uses the N-word, and I'm sure the Gundys aren't very happy about that.
There's a couple of them, Stan and Jeff, probably not super pumped now to be a Gundy.
The Gundy last name is taking a beating in the last couple of days. So, one, he was a player there. I think that's important to note, only in the sense that when I originally heard the story, I thought he was a coach. You know, he's a coach now, so I assumed he was a coach then. Had it been a coach, in my opinion, that would have been even maybe a step further in the severity of it. So the rumor was, again, that the Colorado was playing Oklahoma State. Colorado rarely beat Oklahoma State, as from what I was gathered from the story. They beat them 41-17 on this night, and it was a beatdown. Yikes. So from what I can gather, if the story is true, Gundy was upset and he came out there and maybe said it at some point. So let's just start by this: you lose a game in any kind of fashion and you resort to calling an N-word. That's disgusting. It's wrong in every sense, and it's the wrong angle. It's something that
not even that word, just anything like that is just bad
Right.
taste.
When you lose, and even if they're talking trash in the middle of it, if the trash is semi-sports trashy and you go to that level, you've taken it way too far. And even if they go too far, that doesn't give you the right to automatically just take the lowest shot of all time at somebody. So let's just start there. I think that it is really important, the next few steps on how he handles it, because like I said earlier this week, he was caught in a picture wearing an OAN shirt. So if you don't know, like I said, I introduced that fact that it's a far-right publication that tends to have some misleading facts and tends to not always side with the African-American community very well. So as a player who I imagine at least half of his players, if not the majority of players, are African-American, if that's me on that team, and I always go right there, I always try to put myself in that shoes, I don't want to play for this dude. Like, I know and like I said, you don't have to agree with everything that your boss agrees with. If he agrees with, certain political views, okay. But if he believes, that the Black Lives Matter movement is a joke, or he believes, I can't play for this guy.
I know. It's like an immediate bad taste in your mouth. Like, you're just like, oh, this person doesn't respect me. This person doesn't think highly of me as a person, in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and I think also in a sport like football, where it's not that every other sport isn't like this, but you're essentially putting your life on the line when you go out there. And a lot of these players will even tell you that I'm willing to go out there and I'm willing to die for this coach. I'm willing to die for that quarterback. I'm willing to die for that player next to me. If your coach is somebody that doesn't feel the same way about black lives or black people that you do, that's going to make it really tough for you to go out there and give 100% every single game, in my opinion. I've worked for bosses that I don't like. I'm not saying I should or shouldn't give more effort, but I'm telling you it does force you to pull back a little bit. You don't always throw yourself under the bus every time you have the chance.
Not willing to do that little extra.
No.
You're not willing,
So there's
it's
that.
It's just human nature.
So there's that. So the shirt already, like I said, you can watch whatever you want, but you come out with that, you make a statement. You know,
he knows what that shirt means.
Right.
And he wore it
right
out in public. Like, again, if he wants to watch that or read those news articles or whatever he wants to do in his like thing, but then you're going to go, and he's a semi-famous person.
Right.
You have a platform, and now you're going to put it out in the world?
100%. And not only that, and this is something we talked about a little bit off air, which is that the allegation that he used an N-word, well, there's two prongs to that, and we'll get to, but the first prong is, if that's the only allegation ever against him, then it stands by itself, and it's a moment where you can maybe apologize and grow from it. But if there's a track record of racism, then you start to see patterns, and you start to see it as something that's a little bit harder to apologize for. It's like this person's had multiple chances to back out of this lifestyle, and they haven't. So when I see he wears the shirt, and then I hear, oh, he also was doing the N-word, I understand that this is, I don't care how other people view it. This seems to be a pattern of the way he lives his life. At least for 30 or 40 years, that is the way he's viewed the world. Now, maybe
he hasn't seemed to make any conscious effort to better himself, to improve himself,
to distance himself from that point of view.
Yeah,
you know?
To learn from like
his players.
Yeah, anything.
Right. So I see that he did come out and he said he apologized. He profusely for his pain and discomfort he caused players. And I don't know if a PR team had something to do with his apology, probably.
Did he actually apologize, or did he put out a statement?
At first, he tweeted about it, and his players were really upset by that. Now, I think the second one was an actual apology. But here's his take on it. And now let me just start by saying that I firmly believe that there's no place for it. So I'm not even going to, this is in no way shaping it to be a defense. What I'm trying to explain to people is, though, if this person really did say he's sorry, and he really does want to move forward, and he really does want to be a better person, then I at least am inclined to understand as a person that I have said things that I would regret. I have said things in the heated argument, especially in competition. It gets really fiery, and you end up insulting somebody, saying something that you wish you could pull back. And if you're really looking at me and you're thinking, I've never said anything like this, then you're lying. Everybody has said something that's wildly out of bounds, and then you wish you could have it back. So if this was a one-time use, and he really, really, really regretted it, and it's in the heat of the moment, and it's something that, again, in that time, it's not that it was ever okay, but it was definitely dismissed more in the 80s. And even when I grew up, I heard people say it, and not till later in life did I understand how harmful that word could be to somebody else. But you heard it, and it didn't affect you then, right? So I think maybe if he has grown from it, that would be important. And what Alfred Williams says, is the player that called him out, I think is really important and really impressive. He says, I don't want this guy fired. I want him to grow from it. I want him to show me growth. I want him to come out and say, yeah, I said it, and I need to change the way I view this freaking world.
I was an idiot.
I was an idiot. I was wrong. I was misinformed. The people around me used it. I was around my parents used it, and I didn't realize.
Yeah, it came out because I grew up with it, and it wasn't right then, and it's not right now.
And I didn't know how wrong it was then, and I wish I did, because I could take it back. That's an apology that people can understand. You coming out and saying, yeah, I shouldn't have said it. That's great.
Or nah, it never happened.
Either of those is not strong enough in that kind of situation. So that's my take on it. I do think that if he wants to fix this situation, I think his only option is a real apology and a real conversation. Bill Belichick surprised me recently in the same sense of, he doesn't look like somebody that would have empathy. Let's just start there, right? But he does.
Feelings.
Right? Yeah, he looks like a robot.
Yeah.
He pulled all his players in and talk to them. I don't think he had a speech. I think he just talked to them. I think he just asked them, explain it to me. Tell me what you're thinking. Tell me what I don't see. That's somebody that openly you can see, maybe he's made some mistakes, maybe he's had some views that are cloudy, is saying, look, man, there's a lot of noise, and I need to understand the noise before I have a take on it. And I think that's respectable.
Yeah, and just being there for your players in the fact that, like, come talk to me.
Yeah.
I'm listening.
I'm hard on you on football, but that doesn't mean I'm not on your side.
Yeah.
I think that's a really important distinguished comment to make. So that's my take on it. I think, like I said, I think that it's pretty obvious he did say it. I think it's pretty obvious that Again, it's not like somebody that has a completely clear track record. It seems to somebody that there are small hints that this is something that he could have said. I think it really, we'll probably have another reaction to this, but I want to see how he handles it. Right now, I think it's not a good look. I think it's one of the things that he's going to have
better.
I think he needs to have, he's going to have trouble bouncing back from this at least immediately. So, but thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Hey, guys, thanks for following us along. Another good clip here. Make sure to catch us out on Twitch and hit that subscribe button right here.